The Galaxy Council Station floated in the silent void of space, a vast structure that looked like a shining ring wrapped around a small artificial star. Ships from hundreds of species arrived daily, docking in perfect order. Each vessel carried leaders, warriors, merchants, and diplomats from across the galaxy. The station was not only a place of politics, but also a symbol that different civilizations could, at least in theory, work together. On this day, tension was higher than usual. The great hall of the council was prepared for a special meeting. Glowing banners showed the symbols of each empire, and security drones drifted above the crowd. For weeks, whispers had filled the station's halls. A peace treaty was being negotiated, one that could end years of small wars between rival powers. But many did not believe it would succeed. In the middle of this storm stood Ethan, a young, human diplomat. He was not a soldier, nor a powerful leader. His uniform was simple, carrying only the crest of Earth's alliance. As he walked through the crowded halls, heads turned. Humans were still considered new to galactic politics. Many species thought them reckless, impatient, and far too bold for their own good. "Why send a human?" one alien whispered to another as Ethan passed. "Their lives are so short. They barely understand time, let alone diplomacy." Ethan heard the words, but he kept walking, his steps steady. He had been chosen not because he was the strongest or most skilled, but because humanity believed sometimes courage was worth more than experience. When he entered the council chamber, he felt the weight of countless eyes on him. The chamber was circular, with tall seats rising like steps of a great arena. Each seat held a representative of a different empire. Voices filled the air in dozens of languages, buzzing, clicking, and echoing, but all fell quiet as the human walked to his place. Above, at the center throne, sat Princess Lyra of the Zalari Empire. Tall, graceful, with shining silver eyes, she was known across the stars for her sharp judgment. Though young, she carried herself with authority, wearing the royal markings of her people. Lyra had studied humans before this day, and what she had learned left her doubtful. Their history was full of wars, mistakes, and sudden leaps forward. In her mind, humans were like fire, bright, dangerous, and unpredictable. "The human is here," she said softly to her advisor, her gaze fixed on Ethan. "Let us see if the stories of their bravery are anything more than noise." The meeting began. The first speaker was a tall creature from the Vern Alliance, its body covered in scales of black and red. It rose from its seat and pointed one claw at Ethan. "Humans have no place here," the Vern ambassador declared. "They are too young as a species, too weak in body, too rash in thought. Why should we trust them with peace when they barely understand survival?" Some voices agreed, murmurs of approval rolling through the chamber. Others stayed quiet, waiting to see what the human would say. Ethan stood slowly. His heart beat fast, but he forced his voice to remain calm. "It is true," he said, "that humans are young in this galaxy. Our lives are shorter than most of yours. We are not the strongest, and we are not the oldest. But that does not mean we lack worth." He paused, letting his words echo across the chamber. "Perhaps because our lives are short, we value them more. Perhaps because we are fragile, we fight harder to survive. We may not live for centuries, but in the years we are given, we burn with purpose. Do not mistake our youth for weakness." The hall grew quiet. Even those who disliked humans listened. It was not the kind of answer they expected. Princess Lyra tilted her head, studying him. She had expected anger, a defensive outburst, perhaps, even insults. Instead, she saw a man standing with calm strength. His voice did not shake, and his eyes carried no fear. The Vern ambassador hissed, clearly unsatisfied, but it sat down. The meeting continued with other voices, each arguing for or against the treaty. But Ethan's words lingered in the air. Some representatives glanced at him differently now, not as a reckless child, but as someone willing to stand firm without raising his voice. As hours passed, Ethan stayed silent, listening carefully to every argument. He did not interrupt, though many tried to provoke him. His patience surprised even himself. When the council recessed, Princess Lyra left her throne and walked through the hall. Her steps were smooth and commanding, and every guard moved aside for her. She stopped near where Ethan stood, speaking, quietly so only he could hear. "Your words held weight, human," she said. "But words are easy. Actions are harder. Do not think the council will be moved so easily." Ethan met her gaze. Her silver eyes were sharp, but he did not look away. "I don't expect to change everything in one day," he replied. "But I will stand where I must, even if I stand alone." For the first time, Lyra felt a spark of something unexpected, a quiet respect. As she turned to leave, she wondered if perhaps the galaxy had judged humans too quickly. Yet, far from the council hall, shadows moved in secret. In the lower decks of the station, a group of figures gathered around a device humming with dangerous energy. Their leader, cloaked in dark armor, spoke in a harsh voice. "The treaty must fail. When the council meets again, this chamber will burn, and the humans will be blamed." The council chamber was alive with voices, each echoing in different tones and languages. As the second day of debate began, the air was heavy with mistrust. Banners flickered with the crests of countless empires and the great artificial star. At the center of the station glowed faintly, casting golden light across the hall. Ethan sat quietly, his hands folded before him, listening. He had been warned that this day would test him. Humanity was still new to this gathering, and many saw his presence as a challenge to old traditions. The Vyern ambassador, the same scaly creature who had insulted him the day before, rose again. Its sharp eyes glimmered with hostility. "Once again, I ask the question," it hissed, voice carrying across the chamber. "Why trust humans? They are reckless, untested, fragile. Their bodies snap under pressure. Their lives blink out in decades. How can such a weak race hold peace in their hands?" The words struck like venom. Several members chuckled in agreement. Others remained silent, unwilling to choose a side yet. Ethan rose slowly. He knew that every eye was upon him, waiting to see if the human would crack under the insult. His heart pounded, but his face remained calm. "You are right," Ethan said, his voice steady. "We are not the strongest. Our bones can break, our skin can tear, and our lives pass faster than many here can imagine. But you mistake our limits for weakness." He stepped forward, speaking with more strength now. "Because our lives are short, we are driven to do more with them. Because we are fragile, we build, we learn, and we endure. Humanity has faced storms, hunger, fire, and war on our own world, and we survived every trial. Not because we were unbreakable, but because we refused to stay broken." The chamber grew still. Even those who disliked him were listening. Princess Lyra, seated high above, leaned forward slightly. Her silver eyes studied the human. She had expected him to shout or grow angry. Instead, his calm words held weight, carrying the fire of conviction without losing control. The Vyern ambassador laughed harshly. "Fine words for a child race, but peace is not made with speeches. Peace is tested in fire, and your kind has only just stepped into the stars. What proof do you have, human, that you can face the fire?" Ethan's jaw tightened. "Peace is not about proving who is stronger," he answered. "Peace is about choosing not to fight when fighting is the easier path. That is the courage humanity brings. Not the courage to crush others, but the courage to stand and endure, even when mocked." Some representatives shifted in their seats, whispering among themselves. A few nodded quietly. Princess Lyra's advisor leaned close to her. "The human speaks well," the elder whispered, "but words alone will not sway the council. Perhaps the Vyern will push him harder. Let them try, Lyra murmured, never taking her eyes off Ethan. The Vyern ambassador snarled, clearly dissatisfied. Then let us test you, human. There is a ritual among my people. When an outsider claims strength, they face a test of will. If you fail, your words are dust. Will you accept, or will you hide behind your fragile body? The chamber erupted with murmurs. Challenges between species were rare in the council, but not forbidden. Some watched eagerly, waiting to see the human humiliated. Others frowned, worried the test would turn the fragile talks into chaos. Ethan felt his throat tighten, but he forced himself to breathe. He could not back down, not in front of so many eyes. "I will accept," he said, his voice clear. The chamber fell silent. Princess Lyra's silver eyes widened slightly. She had not expected him to agree so quickly. "Foolish or brave," she whispered to herself. Guards carried out the Vyern test, a stone-like device placed upon the floor, glowing faintly with inner light. It was called the Stone of Endurance. When touched, it sent waves of pain through the body, harmless but powerful, designed to test one's ability to withstand suffering without breaking. The Vyern ambassador stood proudly. "If you last even a minute, human, I will grant your species a shred of respect." Ethan stepped forward. He looked at the stone, then placed his hand on it. At once, a sharp current ran through his arm, spreading into his chest. It was like fire crawling under his skin. His muscles tensed, his jaw clenched, but he did not cry out. Seconds turned into long moments. Sweat formed on his forehead, but his hand did not move. The chamber watched in silence. Whispers rose, then faded again as the human continued to stand. Princess Lyra leaned forward, unable to look away. Her people had tested themselves with similar trials for generations. Many of her strongest warriors had cried out within seconds. Yet this human, with his fragile body and short life, stood still with his hand pressed firmly to the stone. A minute passed, then another. The Vyern ambassador's smirk began to fade. Ethan's breathing grew heavy, his legs trembling. His vision blurred, but he refused to step back. In his mind, he thought of Earth, the oceans, the forests, the faces of those who believed in him. He would not shame them here. Finally, after nearly 3 full minutes, the stone dimmed and went silent. The test ended. Ethan released his hand and stepped back, his arm shaking, but he did not collapse. The chamber erupted with noise. Some shouted in disbelief, others in admiration. Even those who disliked humans could not deny what they had witnessed. The Vyern ambassador hissed, but it had no words. Princess Lyra rose from her throne. Her voice cut through the chamber like a blade. "Enough. The human has proven what many doubted. His body may be fragile, but his spirit is not. Let this be remembered in the record of this council." The hall grew quiet once again. Ethan bowed his head slightly, his chest still rising and falling with effort. Lyra's gaze lingered on him, her thoughts unsettled. She had believed humans reckless, all fire and noise. But what she saw today was different. The human had faced pain not with rage, but with calm resolve. Perhaps, she thought, this diplomat was more dangerous than 1,000 soldiers. Far below, in the hidden decks of the station, the cloaked figures continued their work. The device hummed louder now, energy building within it. Their leader watched the readings with cold satisfaction. "Let them talk of peace," the leader muttered. "When the time comes, their words will turn to ashes." The council chamber slowly emptied after the test of endurance. Whispers still filled the air, echoing through the great hall like faint storms. Many were unsettled. The human diplomat, who was supposed to be weak and fragile, had shown a strength of will that not even some hardened warriors could match. Ethan walked calmly out of the chamber, though his arm still trembled from the pain of the Vyern stone. He kept his back straight and his steps steady, refusing to show weakness. Once outside, he leaned against a cold pillar and took a long breath. Princess Lyra had watched him leave, her silver eyes following his every move. She said nothing aloud, but in her heart, a new thought grew. She had seen bravery before, but bravery often came from warriors who sought glory. What she saw in the human diplomat was different. There was no hunger for glory in him, only duty. Strange human, she whispered to herself. What drives you? While the council discussed and debated in the upper levels, darker events stirred below. Far beneath the shining halls and golden banners, the underdecks of the station were filled with shadows. Abandoned storage rooms, hidden tunnels, and forgotten chambers had become secret meeting places for those who wanted the treaty to fail. A cloaked figure stood before a group of conspirators. Its face was hidden by a mask of dark metal, and its voice was sharp and low. The council grows closer to peace, the figure said. This must not happen. Our device is almost ready. When it detonates, the chamber will be destroyed. The humans will be blamed, and war will return. The conspirators nodded. Some were mercenaries promised wealth. Others were agents of empires who feared that peace would weaken their power. All shared one goal. The treaty must die. As they worked, they did not realize that footsteps echoed faintly nearby. Ethan, unable to rest, had wandered the quieter parts of the station. He often walked to clear his mind, to escape the endless noise of politics. Tonight, his path led him through a narrow corridor where the lights flickered weakly. He had expected silence, but instead he heard hushed voices. Curiosity made him pause. He moved closer, careful to keep his steps light. Around a corner, he saw the cloaked group gathered around a glowing device. Strange symbols pulsed across its surface, and the hum of its energy made the air vibrate. Ethan did not understand its design, but he knew one thing. It was dangerous. He pressed his back to the wall, listening. The device will release its energy during the next council session, the leader said. The humans will be accused, and their weakness will be clear for all to see. Chaos will follow, and we will rule in the shadows. Ethan's chest tightened. He could not believe what he was hearing. Someone was planning to sabotage the entire council and blame humanity. If they succeeded, peace would be destroyed, and Earth would be cast as the villain. He stepped back quietly, trying not to make a sound, but his boot scraped against a loose piece of metal on the floor. The sharp noise echoed through the corridor. The conspirators turned. "Who's there?" one of them growled, pulling out a blade of glowing crystal. Ethan's heart raced. He forced himself to stay calm and darted down another corridor. The sound of footsteps followed him, heavy and fast. He ran through the twisting tunnels, his mind racing as quickly as his feet. He had no weapon, no guards, no soldiers. He was only a diplomat. But if he did nothing, the council would be destroyed. He reached a security checkpoint and stumbled inside. 2 guards, tall and armored, looked at him with suspicion. "What is the meaning of this, human?" one of them demanded. "There's a plot," Ethan said, breathing hard. "A device, dangerous, beneath the station. They plan to use it during the council meeting." The guards exchanged glances, then laughed. "Always so dramatic, these humans," one sneered. "Peace talks drive them mad with fear." "I am telling the truth," Ethan said firmly. "If you don't act, the council will burn." But the guards shook their heads. "You are a diplomat. Stay in your chamber. We will not chase shadows because a human hears whispers." Ethan's hands tightened into fists. He wanted to shout at them, but he knew it would do no good. They had already dismissed him. He left the checkpoint, his mind heavy. No one would believe him. To them, he was only a human, too young, too fragile, too untrustworthy. Yet as he walked, he remembered his own words in the council. Peace is about choosing not to fight when fighting is the easier path. But now, peace itself was in danger. He realized that he had no choice. He would have to act on his own. Ethan returned quietly to the corridor where he had first seen the conspirators. They were gone now, but the faint hum of the device still filled the air. He crept closer, studying it. He could not disable it. Its alien design was beyond his knowledge, but he could at least gather proof. He pulled a small recording tool from his Diplomat's kit and activated it. The device captured images and sounds, proof of the sabotage. If he could show this to the council, they would be forced to act. But as he leaned closer, the recording tool slipped from his hand and clattered against the floor. The hum of the device masked most sounds, but the noise was sharp enough to draw attention. A door opened nearby. The cloaked leader stepped back into the room, its mask turning toward Ethan. "You again," the figure said, voice cold. "The human diplomat." Ethan froze, his heart pounding. The conspirator stepped forward, eyes burning with anger. "You should not have seen this," the leader hissed. "But no matter. Your death will make our lie even stronger." Ethan took a slow step back, clutching the recording tool in his hand. He was unarmed, outmatched, and cornered. Yet he did not let go of the device. Even if he fell, he would not let the truth be lost. Unaware of the danger unfolding below, Princess Lyra prepared in her chambers above. Her thoughts lingered on the human who had faced the Vern stone without breaking. She did not know why, but she felt certain his story was not finished. Down in the shadows, Ethan faced the cloaked figure, knowing one thing with certainty. His mission as a diplomat was no longer about words. Now, it was about survival, and the survival of peace itself. The corridor was dimly lit, shadows flickering across the cold metal walls. Ethan's heart beat like a drum in his chest, but his face showed nothing but calm determination. The cloaked figure stepped closer, its voice low and threatening. "You do not understand what you face, human," it said. "This station will burn, and your people will be blamed. Peace will shatter, and war will rise again." Ethan took a steady breath. "I understand enough," he said quietly, "and I will stop you." The figure laughed, a harsh sound that echoed in the narrow space. "Alone? A single human against us all? Foolish." But Ethan did not hesitate. He lunged forward, grabbing a metal pipe from nearby debris. The figure reacted quickly, pulling a sharp blade glowing faintly with alien energy. The two clashed, metal against blade, strength against skill. Ethan was no warrior, but desperation sharpened his senses. He swung the pipe hard, forcing the figure back. Sparks flew as weapon met weapon. Behind them, footsteps sounded. Guards, alerted by earlier alarms, rushed down the corridor. The cloaked figure hissed and broke away, disappearing into the shadows. Ethan stood panting, holding the pipe tightly. He knew this was only the beginning. The guards arrived, their faces a mix of surprise and confusion. "Human? What happened here?" one asked. "There is a plot to destroy the council," Ethan said urgently. "A device is hidden nearby. I saw it, and the people behind it. We must stop them." The guards looked at each other. Finally, one nodded. "We will secure the area. You come with us." As they moved, Ethan felt the weight of the recording device in his pocket. It held proof of the sabotage. Proof that could save the council and the peace treaty. The group hurried toward the chamber where the device was hidden. Alarms echoed faintly, triggered by the presence of unauthorized energy. Princess Lyra waited in the council hall, surrounded by her closest advisors. The meeting was about to resume, but her mind was unsettled. She had sent messengers to check the station's security, sensing the shadows growing darker. When the guards and Ethan arrived, she stood and watched the human approach. "What is this, human?" she asked, voice steady but curious. "There is a device," Ethan said, catching his breath. "A weapon hidden beneath the station. It is set to detonate during the meeting, to destroy the council and blame humanity." Lyra's eyes narrowed. "Prove it." Ethan activated the recording device, and the room filled with images and sounds from the hidden chamber. The conspirators, The glowing device, the threatening words. The evidence was clear. Gasps filled the hall. Many faces showed shock, others anger. The council guards moved swiftly to locate and disarm the device. Lyra stepped forward, addressing the council. This human has risked everything to save us. He stood alone against danger and carried the truth to us. This courage deserves respect. The council members, once doubtful, now looked at Ethan with new eyes. Some nodded in agreement, others whispered that humans might be stronger than their history suggested. As the disarmament teams worked, Ethan felt a hand on his shoulder. He turned to see Princess Lyra standing beside him. "You have done what no warrior in my empire dared," she said softly. "You have shown a strength beyond the body. You have shown the courage of a true diplomat." Ethan shook his head, smiling, faintly. "I only did what was right." Outside the council chamber, the conspirators were captured one by one. Their plans were ruined and their lies exposed. Peace, fragile but alive, had been saved by the bravery of one human. Princess Lyra watched Ethan from a distance, knowing that this was only the beginning of a new chapter between their peoples. The great council hall was filled with a silence unlike any before. The recent events had shaken everyone deeply. Whispers of doubt were replaced by thoughtful glances and quiet nods. Ethan, the human diplomat, stood near the center, his body still tired but his spirit strong. Princess Lyra, tall and graceful in her royal robes, stepped forward to address the council. Her silver eyes shone with a mixture of pride and respect as she spoke. "For centuries, the Zalari Empire has taught that strength comes from power and weapons," she began, her voice clear and steady. "But today, we have witnessed a different kind of strength, one not born from force but from courage, calm, and the will to protect peace." Her gaze swept over the gathered leaders. "This human, Ethan, has risked his life without sword or army. His bravery has saved this council, and possibly our galaxy, from destruction." There was a murmur of agreement. Many representatives stood and applauded, a rare show of unity in the often divided chamber. Ethan felt the weight of their respect settle on him. It was not just for his actions, but for what he represented, a new hope for cooperation among the stars. After the applause, Lyra approached Ethan personally. "You have earned more than words can say," she said softly. "No warrior in my empire has shown such selflessness." Ethan shook his head humbly. "I was only doing my duty," he replied. "Duty is the heart of courage," she said, "and yours beats strong." As the council resumed, the tone of the discussions changed. Arguments for the peace treaty grew louder and more hopeful. Species, once suspicious of humanity, now spoke with cautious respect. Over the next hours, the council voted unanimously to sign the treaty, binding their empires to a new era of cooperation and understanding. Outside the chamber, reporters and diplomats from across the galaxy gathered around Ethan. Questions poured in about his bravery, his beliefs, and the future of humanity in the stars. Ethan answered carefully, always returning to the theme of peace and cooperation. "Our galaxy is vast," he said. "We all come from different worlds, but we share one home now. I hope this treaty is the first step toward a future where we solve our problems with words, not weapons." Princess Lyra watched from the side, impressed by his humility and wisdom. She knew that while many warriors won battles with strength, true leaders won peace with courage and understanding. Later that evening, as the council station quieted, Lyra found Ethan alone on a balcony looking out at the endless stars. "You changed more than the council today," she said, stepping beside him. "You changed the way we see humans." Ethan smiled faintly. "I hope so. There is much for us to learn from each other." She looked at him closely. "You remind me that bravery is not about the size of one's body, but the size of one's heart." Ethan nodded. "And sometimes, the smallest voice can be the loudest." They stood side by side, two representatives of very different worlds, sharing a quiet moment under the stars. The galaxy's future was uncertain, but with courage. Like Ethan's and wisdom like Lyra's, hope burned bright. The council station buzzed with renewed hope. The peace treaty had been signed, and a fragile calm settled over the many empires that shared this part of the galaxy. Yet, beneath the surface, old fears and rivalries still lingered. Trust was not easily won after centuries of conflict. Princess Lyra sat quietly in her chambers, reflecting on the recent events. Ethan's courage had surprised her in ways she had not expected. She remembered the calm strength in his eyes when he faced the Vayern Stone and the boldness he showed confronting the conspirators. He is unlike any human I have known, she thought. Perhaps unlike any alien I have ever met. A soft knock on her door broke her thoughts. It was one of her trusted aides, carrying a message from the council. "Princess, the council wishes to honor Ethan publicly for his bravery and service to peace." Lyra nodded. "Arrange it. It is well deserved." Meanwhile, Ethan prepared for the ceremony. He had never wanted glory, but he understood that his actions carried meaning far beyond himself. He hoped his example would inspire others to believe in the power of peace. The grand hall was filled once again. Representatives from many species gathered, their faces showing respect and curiosity. The room was decorated with symbols of unity, flags, lights, and banners celebrating the new treaty. Princess Lyra stood at the front beside a large podium. When Ethan entered, a hush fell over the crowd. "Today," Lyra began, "we honor a diplomat whose bravery saved our council and gave us a chance at peace. Ethan, you stood alone when others doubted you. You risked your life not with weapons, but with courage and truth." She handed Ethan a small medal, a symbol of the council's highest respect. "May this remind us all that peace is guarded not only by armies, but by those who dare to face danger with hope in their hearts." Ethan accepted the medal humbly, his eyes meeting Lyra's. A silent understanding passed between them, a bond forged in fire and trust. After the ceremony, Lyra invited Ethan to walk with her through the gardens of the council station. The stars glittered beyond the glass walls, and gentle alien plants swayed in the soft breeze. "I have judged humans too quickly," Lyra said quietly. "Your bravery has changed my view." Ethan smiled. "And you have shown me that even those born to power can choose compassion." They talked for hours, sharing stories of their worlds, their hopes, and fears. A friendship grew, a bridge between two very different peoples. Word of Ethan's courage spread across the galaxy. Other species began to see humanity not as reckless, newcomers, but as allies willing to stand for peace. The treaty held, and the council worked to build a future where differences were celebrated, not feared. And though challenges would come, the story of a human diplomat's bravery became a symbol of what was possible when courage met hope. Princess Lyra and Ethan stood side by side, looking out at the galaxy they both vowed to protect. Their journey was just beginning, but together, they knew they could face whatever the stars held.